Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 9 of Spectator Mode. I am your host, JJ Piedra, Joshua Jeremiah, and as always, I am flanked by the one and only Mr. Frustration himself, Keith Mitchell. What's going on, Keith?
Still frustrated, just not as much so. Does that make sense?
Mr. Diego Perez joining us once again this week. What's going on?
I've been playing a lot of video games recently, like I always do.
Ooh, what game are you playing?
Game, like singular? You know, I played more than one game.
Oh, well, which games are you playing?
I'm playing a lot of Dreams. That's a cool game thing.
That's right. You're still talking. You know what? We did not factor that into the podcast. I think we should lead with that then.
Yeah.
I can talk about Dream. Cool.
Absolutely, because I meant to actually pick this game up, but student loans got paid and I have no money. So, yeah, I'm going to have to hold off for another month or so.
Josh, you want that? I will buy that for you, buddy.
Ote, you heard it here, folks. It's on tape. And if he edits this, then I guess I'm just talking about nothing that happened, in which case conspiracy.
No, I am 100% legit. I try and take care of the people that are with me.
Nice. So, Diego, apparently I'll be getting Dreams soon. Tell us about the game I'm about to receive.
Well, you're in for a treat because Dreams has been an experience, to say the least. It's really hard to describe this game. It's in early access right now. It's not out. It's still on the PlayStation Store as of now. The spaces are limited. They just didn't say what the limit was. So there's a good chance it will get pulled from the PlayStation before the full release. But people were anticipating it to be up for like a day or two, but it's still up and there's no signs of it stopping. It's called the Dreams Creators Early Access because that's really what this is all about right now, is creating. If you're only looking to play right now, I wouldn't recommend picking it up. There's just not a lot of levels to play right now, or games or experiences to do. There are some cool things, but it's a lot of tech demos and really short experience. But I think once this game launches, there will be a plethora of content. But the creation tools are actually a lot of fun to use, and they're extremely powerful. I've been messing around with them. I have some really small things out there right now. I'm working on some modeling, some animation, some song. But you can do so much with this game. Like, I spent 5 or 6 hours launch day just messing around with the music creation tools, and I barely scratched the surface. And I've seen so many other things that people have done that are just incredible. And even if you don't want to go in depth with the creation tools, say you just have an idea for a game or a level, but you know nothing about animating, nothing about programming, nothing about music creation or level. You don't have to just create full things and full assets. They're called elements. And every element somebody creates is remixable. So say somebody creates like a really cool character model. You can import that into one of your dreams and use it. And I've seen people who've created their own levels and their own games using assets completely from other people. And even coding, like I'm trying to make a Metal Gear Solid remake, and I didn't know how to get the camera working, the top-down camera thing. And I tried to get it done myself, but it was a little too complicated for me. So I searched top-down camera for like elements and stuff and logic. And I got a ton of results of people with top-down cameras, and it let me import into my game, and it worked just like that. And not only that, I could like look at what they did and how they did it to learn more about it for myself. It's so straightforward and easy to use, and it's fun to create, which I did not think it would be.
So, like, what kind of genres can you actually make with this? You're restricted.
Literally whatever you want. Like anything. It's not just restricted to single levels either. Like somebody's made a full-on first-person RPG. It's called Slayer Scrolls, which is obviously a play on Elder Scrolls. And it's got towns and NPCs and quests and dialogue. It's really impressive. Online multiplayer will be a thing they're going to patch in later, so you can make a battle royale if you wanted to. I've seen first-person shooters, third-person shooters, stealth games. Somebody remade Guitar Hero, but it uses community-made songs. Not even just games. I've seen people make albums and EPs. Super cool stuff. Short films, a lot of really cool tech demos of like realistic-looking graphics. Like somebody remade the intro cutscene of Dark Souls, but it looks really, really good and way better than the Dreams art style normally does. There's a lot of promising ideas out there that are going to get compiled into cool things later on.
All right. So the anime weeaboo in me has to ask novels.
Visual novel preset, and you can search for visual. I was surprised to see that. If you're into create, I I still think you should give it a shot because the tutorials are incredibly in depth and they are very noob friendly. And if you forget what something does, the controls are interesting to say the least. Because what I'm about to say is going to sound strange to some people. If you forget how to operate the game, you can bring up the controls or tooltips at any time. If you hover over something, because you don't use the analog sticks or the D-pad to control the menus in Dream, it's controlled with motion controls. You use the gyroscope, or you can use the PlayStation Move controllers. And if you hover over one of the tools for a couple seconds, it'll tell you what it does. And if you keep hovering after that, it brings up a slideshow that tells you how to use that tool in depth. And there's so many different tools and modes and things you can do in this game. It's honestly overwhelming at first, and the controls are very hard to get used to. But it's been so much fun just messing around with this stuff. And the fact that everything is remixable and shareable is genius. It's brilliant. Because you can just go play random things, and if you get inspired by it, you can just remix it, and it'll open up edit mode in that thing that somebody published, and you can add it and change it however you want. It's awesome.
Damn.
How much does it cost?
It is $30 right now. It'll be $60 when it comes out. But if you buy it now, you get upgraded for free at launch.
There you go.
Hey, Keith, speak into your microphone. You sound like you're like 30 years away.
I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out why YouTube won't let us go live.
And for all my VR people out there, this will have VR support very soon. It's going to be cool.
Dude, that sounds absolutely sick. I mean, all right.
It's
Keith,
unlike anything I've ever played. Like, honestly, give this game a shot. If it's not your jam, it probably will be.
Yeah. All right, Keith, I'm so happy you actually volunteered to get that for me. I'm holding that to you now because I need this in my life.
I usually keep my promises, so I will be processing that payment during the podcast, sir.
I love you. Platonically,
like
of course, but I still love you.
Well, okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Speaking of love, we have a little bit of a latecomer here to the podcast. Our man from down under, Carl
Hey, look,
Smart.
and the
What's
freaking
up?
YouTube is letting her stream as well. Gosh. It was on Mace. It was because he's here now.
The magic of Australia has cured our YouTube plight.
If only that was true, but we all know it's bullshit.
Well, hello to you too, Sunshine. How have you been?
I only woke up 5 minutes ago, so shush.
But it's Saturday for you, right?
It is indeed. It is
So, you should be
Easter
somewhat happy.
Saturday of the nice Easter weekend. 4 days off. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Spent
Nice.
the Good Friday evening watching a local wrestling company put on a special Good Friday edition of their show. They raised about $1,400 for the Good Friday appeal, which is awesome for kids who are in the local children's hospital here in Australia. So, yeah, we got out, watched wrestling, and got to donate to a good cause. So
Oh,
I
that's
had a
always
good
good.
night.
It kind of stinks that it's restricted to just Australia because I would like to help the kiddies. I always like to help the kiddies in their gaming. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people also are in the same boat.
You'll find this Easter weekend that a lot of people, especially the Australian mobs, will be probably doing stuff on Twitch for the Good Friday appeal that they'll also sort of back donate
Probably.
for stuff like that. So, yeah, so it might be something people can sort of keep an eye out next year with, if they want to, take a look, see if there's any Good Friday charity streams running, or there's always some places that are always doing some sort of charity streams for the kids.
I'm pretty sure there'll be some. And not to cut you short, for everybody else who's just jumping in, we just got our YouTube connection working. I'm not sure what the heck was YouTube, so we do apologize for that. But you didn't miss much, unfortunately. We did talk about dreams, but you can check that out on the audio portion of the podcast when we post it up there.
TLDL, which is too long, didn't listen. Just buy it. Just get this game and buy it.
And
There'll be
Josh
some
said he
stuff
was
going up
moist,
this weekend on the
which
Outerhaven.
I'm trying to figure out how that's even possible, but okay.
Huh? People find ways.
Yeah,
The internet
yes.
finds a way. Life finds a way.
Yes.
But,
All right, so
speaking
let's...
of charity streams, the United States does actually have quite a few of them. So, don't always have to send your dollars over to Australia. There's also Extra Life, Games Done Quick,
Oh yeah,
humble bundles. There's a lot of options out there throughout the year. If you ever get in the donating mood and want to put your money to a good cause and watch some awesome gaming go on at the same time. So there's that. Speaking of gaming, well, E3 is coming up pretty soon, and Microsoft is pretty much the only conference there, which they've teased. They've pretty much teased some pretty big announcements there, but the big announcement is of E3 itself being the last convention to be at the LA Convention Center because it's going to be undergoing renovation afterwards. So this will be the LACC swan song.
Which is interesting because when I went to PAX, when I went to E3 last year, they were under construction. So it's really interesting that they're still going under construction. And part of that rumor / report is that, it may not be there, but I don't know any other place in that area that they could actually host E3. So maybe it'll leave the state completely.
Yeah, E3 next year is going to be really interesting. Either they're going to find someplace else in Los Angeles, or they're just going to basically pack up and go to a new place. I mean, it's not the first time they've went to a new place. Didn't they go to Atlanta one year and just went right back to Los Angeles?
Yeah, at the very beginning. You know what? Bring it back to the East Coast and leave it there.
Right. So if
you know how much airfare you would save me on and hotel fare? Please come back here.
All right. So if it does come back to the East Coast, I mean, obviously I'm thinking you're going to pick New York City, but where would you actually like to see it land then?
New York City.
See, told you.
No, I was going to say really Philadelphia.
Okay. How about you, Diego? Where would you see E3 landing if it were to come back east?
I don't really know. Atlanta could work again. It's worked before.
I mean, if anything, go back to Atlanta. It definitely has the space. But anywhere within the East Coast vicinity would be pretty awesome for me. I know that's never going to happen, but there's as you said, there might be a way. There's a will, there's a way. I would love to see it come back over here, just because A, I hate flying. I really hate flying. And B, it's expensive to fly all the way over to the West Coast. And C, I don't like the fact, and I never liked the fact that the West Coast people get all the cool stuff. I mean, what do we got over here other than PAX in New York Comic Con? And a couple fighting game events.
Well, I mean, down here in Florida, I have SuperCon and MegaCon.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the really big things.
MegaCon's pretty big.
Bigger than San Diego Comic-Con?
Oh, no, nothing's bigger than San Diego Comic-Con.
Exactly. Not even New York Comic-Con is that big. Give us something cool back on the East Coast. Please. Bring it back. I love you forever.
Keith will, and it'll be platonic, just like my love for him.
No, I'll be on there. No, I'll be there. No, it won't be platonic. I literally will love them. Bring it back.
There you go, guys. Bring it to the East Coast, and you'll receive all of Keith's love.
All of my love and affection. I'm going to have to fight my wife, but...
Love and affection. There's a 50-50 on this next topic about the Xbox One S all digital. Has been announced, but the question is it really worth it? Honestly, I'll give my opinion here first. I think this is simply just Microsoft testing the waters. I mean, we are moving in a, I don't know if like a brisk direction, but maybe it's a slow direction towards an all digital future. And we're going to get to this in our main topic, the PlayStation 5 mentioned it's still going with a solid state hard drive, which is obviously a step up from, your mechanical drives. But, having an all digital console is something that we could be looking at in the future. And I think Microsoft is mainly doing this to really test the waters to see if maybe it's worth going all digital. Is it too soon though? Honestly, I mean, can you really say it's too soon? At some point, we're going to reach that point where we're going to have to go all digital. And it's just going to take someone to finally just come out and do it. And that's what Microsoft is doing. So is this going to catapult us into the next, age where it's all digital? Probably not. But it might actually be the spark to actually get people interested and on board with it. Nothing happens unless you take the first step, and I see Microsoft doing this. So, Diego, what do you think about this? Do you think this is something that we will actually see as a catalyst, or this is just going to be something that might fail?
The way they're pricing it right now, I don't see it being that popular, but it is 100% a test, and this will be a thing next generation. It's going to be a while before physical media goes away entirely, and I don't think it ever will. I just think it'll become a smaller portion of the industry, kind of like how vinyl is for music. I think the next Xbox will have an all-digital version, not at launch, but later. But the way this is right now, I think it's pushing Game Pass, and especially with Game Pass Ultimate being a thing now, but it's still too expensive. It's the same price or a little bit less than the traditional Xbox One S, even though it comes with 3 games. Those games are on Game Pass, and I don't know if people are willing to just save $50 to lock themselves out of physical media. It just makes no sense to me.
All right. How about you, Carl? What are your thoughts on it?
Good for them to be like a digital future. I'm very wary of it because I'm still one of those people who are like, what happens when you get to the day when licenses are pulled or servers go down or the Xbox just turns around and goes, well, we're not supporting the system anymore. That includes all your games. I don't ask for a refund. That's one thing that I really just don't like about the digital age at the moment, is that you can still get screwed over by things such as that, you know, especially licenses. Look at how many Marvel licenses have been destroyed, and those games have disappeared off all the digital shelves, including like your Deadpool, your Marvel pinballs and stuff like that. Why? Because the license expired. Well,
you remind me of an old man yelling at the cloud.
Well, yeah, I am. I'm pretty much yelling at the cloud. I do not understand this technology, so therefore I fear it. But it's more the legalities that I fear more than the actual technology. You know, we've moved on to the digital future. I've been using a PC for how many years now? I use Steam every day, so I'm used to it. It's just with the consoles, there always seems to be some error or glitch or something that sort of throws it backwards. It's I don't know. It's like there's no way to really archive anything anymore. You know, since the games have gotten so big, like back in Super Nintendo days and Nintendo and that, yeah, if you lose out on the console, well, you always got ROMs. But you don't have those these days because the games are too big. So in a fully digital future with no way to really archive what we have, do you really want to trust a digital future where a company has the major say over what you can and can't download, and when you can and can download and when you can't download it?
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, licenses do play a huge role in that, and it's like the whole thing with Rare. You know, like Microsoft, even though they own Rare, they still don't have the license for GoldenEye 007. That was still purely a Nintendo thing. So, you know, unless you own a physical copy of the cart, you know, you're not really going to play it unless you go and download, what was it? Was it Unreal Tournament? The Unreal Engine, they actually did like a clone of it, and they actually just released it for free. Like, unless you find something like that.
GoldenEye Source, I think it was, on PC. It was a mod for one of the games, and it was actually a really good recreation. Well worth it.
Yeah, so unless you find something like that, then pretty much SOL in that case. So, Mr. Bossman, what are your thoughts on this whole Xbox One S all digital?
I'm like literally here, like, I want to talk. Why did you leave me for last?
Because you're always the first to talk, and Diego and Carl don't usually get to say anything.
I'm sorry, guys. But, okay, so I have a couple different opinions about this. As far as the Xbox One S all digital, one, the name is stupid. Two, this is a big pile of failure. The fact that I can go and get an Xbox One S with a disk drive with several big name games for the same damn price, there is literally no reason for anybody to buy the all digital version. None. Microsoft came in at a price point that was way too high. Maybe at $200, I'd be all in. But you didn't give us anything other than a console without a disk drive, which means you gimped it. I can't watch Blu-rays on it now. I mean, and like Diego said, the games you gave us, Minecraft, Forza Horizon 3, and Sea of Thieves, are on Game Pass. And for the naysayers, we got to remember that Xbox exclusive games stay on Game Pass forever. So I see zero reason to buy this console. It's way too expensive. As far as an all digital future, we all know it's coming. I'm not really concerned about it because of licensing and whatnot, because unfortunately that's just the way it is. You can't protect physical media. CDs, DVDs, they rot. They go, and that's it. What are you going to do when they rot? You're screwed. I would rather take my chances with a digital future. That way I still have access to them. Now, there are things in contracts stated that, if they decide to pull, they owe you something. But at the end of the day, is anything ever truly yours? You look at, we talked about this before. Like, I know Carl will say it's different in Australia, but at least for us in North America, even when we buy a physical game, we don't own that game. We're just purchasing a license to that game. They can come and say, you can't have that game anymore, and we're asked out. And the digital future is no different. But that's a completely different argument for a different time. But yeah, I think Microsoft overpriced this console. $250.
It's $250, right? And right now at GameStop, you can get an Xbox One S, the normal Xbox One S, 1 terabyte with the Division 2 for the same price, $249, brand new.
Yep. And a couple other games too. Yep. There's literally no, and some places are selling it for cheaper. So it's like, because I wrote an article about this, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
I've seen them for $200 with bundles for new games. Xbox One S's are ridiculously cheap now.
Yeah, exactly. There is no reason to buy this all digital. What are you getting different? They're both giving you a terabyte drive, a controller, games, and the other Xbox One S's, the regular ones, give you a 2 week or a month for a Game Pass. So I'm not missing out on anything.
And with the all digital, you have to buy digital games, which never see price drops as frequently as physical.
Exactly. Unless they have some kind of sell like what they're doing right now. Yeah. Because I wrote it.
How big's the hard drive, by the way?
1 terabyte, which is a drop in the bucket.
Shit ass.
Yeah, I said that in an article. 1 terabyte. You're taking away the disk drive. You didn't make the console smaller. You're only giving us a 1 terabyte hard drive. For the difference, you should have gave us a 2 terabyte hard drive. 1 terabyte is nothing. In the article, I went to state, like, for example, Forza Horizon 4 plus the DLC is 74 gigs. Forza Motorsport 7 is almost 100 gigs. Gears of War 4 is 112 gigs. Red Dead Redemption 2 is 114 gigs. The way this is going, you download a handful of games, you've done filled up that 1 terabyte drive. Then what? Uninstall, reinstall, uninstall, reinstall. Then you run issues with data caps or your bandwidth in general. No, that 1 terabyte drive was a bad move, but coming at $249 was even worse move.
Yeah, this needed to be sub 200 to be successful because you're literally just paying the same price for an Xbox One S with less functionality.
That's all you're doing.
And the disk drive version is cheaper in most places too, so you're paying more for less. It's ridiculous.
Exactly, and I love how. And I'm not digging at Microsoft. And for those who listen to this, might be saying, "Hey, you're just hating on Microsoft." No, I am actually one of Microsoft's biggest supporters. But I will call out a silly decision, and this is a silly decision.
Yeah, if this was cheaper, it could have been targeted at a very specific type of consumer, people who have a PlayStation 4, a PC, and Nintendo Switch, who want to play Microsoft first-party exclusives, but don't want to break the bank on a new console. But it needed to be a lot cheaper than this for that to be the target consumer.
And it needed to be sub 200 for this. It had to be.
Plus, the name sucks too, like you said. The Xbox One Sad Edition.
I saw that. It's like, no, this is no. Bad move. If this is a test, this is going to be a bad test. This reminds me of Capcom putting out Darkstalkers Resurrection and it didn't sell well. Well, you're not getting anything else now because this didn't sell well. We know Microsoft isn't going to do that. But if they were to release the sales numbers, the sell figures for this console at the end of the year, I can guarantee it's not going to be good.
Yeah. And they want to keep $50 between the normal Xbox One S and this price, but I'm not seeing that happening right now, considering normal Xbox One S's are cheaper.
Yep, I don't see it happening.
Once the Xbox One S drops to like 200 permanently, and this is 150 with the $50 difference, it might be kind of appealing. But even then, 50 is not enough of a difference to make it worthwhile.
No, and like you said before, you lose access to physical media. So this is going to be marketed towards people who don't have an Xbox, who want an Xbox, and don't care about picking up only digital games. which is going to be havoc for parents that don't know the difference and pick up this, and they're like, and the kids are like,
"Holiday's gonna suck."
I said, "No, I wanted the one with the disc drive, not this one. I can't play these games." It's going to happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. They look exactly the same too. It's just missing the little slot for the disc.
If you looked at the commercial that they had for, they literally took a piece of white tape, put it across the system, and it's like, yeah, there you go. Hey, you can take all those broken Xbox One X or S's with the broken drive, just put a piece of tape on it and sell those. Yeah, bad move, Microsoft.
There's probably some up on eBay just like that right now.
Yeah. Somebody go eBay, Xbox One sad. 150. This drive doesn't work, but it's all right. It's all digital. Oh God.
It's called the sad because that's what it makes us all.
You make us all sad. Bad move, Microsoft. I want to believe, but not this way. Not
good
this
idea,
way.
flawed execution.
Yes.
Yeah, the naming of the system just screams Don Matrick, even though he's not even there anymore.
Do not mention that man's name. God, Don Matrix. Oh, no, I did it. Damn it.
Well, better name then, Sega, because they announced 10 more games for the Sega Genesis Mini.
Oh my God. Yes.
Among those games is Streets of Rage 2, Shinobi 3, Sonic 2, Contra Hardcore, Echo the Dolphin, many others. And looking at the list, I say the Sega Genesis Mini is shaping up to be quite a powerhouse when it comes to retro gaming plug-and-play consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it has a complete total now of 40 titles, and it's scheduled to release this September. So,
well, we don't have all 40 yet. We got 20. They have 20 more games to announce.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to have a total of 40, but obviously we haven't gotten there yet. But I mean, obviously this makes it the most robust console out of all the ones, like the NES Mini, the Super NES Mini, the PlayStation Classic. This has the most games out of all of them. So for $80, I mean, that's literally like $2 a game. That is a hell of a deal. Plus you're getting hardware to play it on. So, I mean, I was never a Sega Genesis person growing up. I was a Nintendo fanboy. So were my friends. Whenever we got out of school, it was like, hey, do you want to go play Nintendo? It wasn't, you want to come to my house and play video games? It's no, you do want to come play Nintendo. And I remember I had a friend named Seth who had a Sega Genesis, and I went over to his house and I just looked at the controller with like 3 buttons. I'm like, the fuck is this thing? Why are there 3 buttons? Where's the 4th? It was just absolutely funny to see a Sega system, through my eyes.
Can I say I'm not a fan of the 3-button controller? I really wish we got the 4-button controller, but only a Japanese market is getting that one, which really stinks.
It is a 6.
Yeah, we need the 6.
Yeah. So for someone like me who didn't grow up with Sega, missing out on all those great games and seeing this, I'm actually really tempted to drop the $80 on this when it comes out later this year, just so I can go back and experience the things that I missed as a kid growing up.
Well, the enthusiast in me says, why not just do an emulator? But the person who wants to support Sega, I definitely want to say that, at least on paper, this is spanking the Super Nintendo Classic, because we got that system in North America, and there were some games on there that people were like, this game shouldn't have been on there. And we really got a really poor selection. As far as the Sega Genesis Mini, they're doing everything that we want. They're giving us all the games that we want so far.
It's better than that. What was it? The anniversary edition collection that they brought out. What was
from HC Games? Oh,
yeah, that terrible piece of junk.
Which is what Sega was going to go with in the beginning, and everybody was like, "Please don't go with them. Please don't do that," and they dumped them.
Thank God for that, because I'm just looking at the games that they've just added, and I'm looking at it going, okay, Echo the Dolphin, which wasn't in that collection, Castlevania Bloodlines, that wasn't in that collection, Sonic 1 and 2, Streets of Rage 2, hell, you get both Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion. World of Illusion never saw a Western release.
Are we getting Echo, or is that just Japanese?
No, but then again, I'm looking at European release.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking right here at the one on Engadget, and it does list Echo the Dolphin.
Okay. Actually, yeah, we are getting that. Yeah, cool.
So, Comic Zone, the original Toe Jam and Earl.
Yes.
They're really pushing a lot of games that weren't on the last collection due to like licensing issues. I think Capcom had the Castle and World of Illusion games.
And that's the amazing thing.
Again, World of Illusion never saw a Western release.
Nope. And that's the thing. We got those two games, which is giving people a lot of hope that we might see Sonic 3 because of the whole Michael Jackson thing. And we might possibly see Moonwalker because I know a lot of people are asking for that game, which is also tied up due to licensing in Michael Jackson. I want to see it. I love Moonwalker.
Again, a game I haven't played, but hopefully it gets in because I would enjoy, giving it a try.
The only thing we don't know yet is if this will let us use Bluetooth controllers because 8BitDo has a really nice 6-button Bluetooth. Wireless controller. Excuse me, wireless controller. Is it the M30? I think it is. Because it works for Analog's Mega SG, which is a Sega Genesis. What would you call that? Reproduction? I'm not sure what the exact term is, but it plays Sega Genesis games. So
I would just call it just a retro console.
Yeah, we'll call it a retro console.
Essentially what they are.
Yeah. And that can use that controller. 6-button Sega Genesis 8BitDo controller. Sega hasn't said anything if we're able to do that. Or if not, I guess we'll just import the 6-button controllers. I still think it's really dumb that we're not getting those over here. Kind of frustrating to say the least.
Well, then again, it's like that. I mean, with the NES and SNES Classic, Japan got some titles that we didn't, and vice versa. So,
Yeah, but that thing got hacked to hell and back. It didn't really make a difference then.
That's true.
I will say the Super Nintendo Classic, outside of the big boy retro consoles, is the best budget retro console. Thinking the best words to use right now because you can pretty much put anything on there. Super Nintendo, PlayStation. PlayStation 1 games better than the PlayStation Classic. Go figure. MAME. Oh, man. So many games. I think you can play some Nintendo 64 games on there. It's really nice. And it's wireless if you got the right controllers.
Yeah. How about you, Diego? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not really a big Sega guy. I do like retro consoles, though, so I might pick this up.
You're not a fan of Sega. What?
I didn't say that. I'm just not. I'm always a Nintendo guy over Sega,
okay.
but I do like Sega's games.
Okay, so I was going to say, I'm going to put you on the spot. So, what is one of your favorite Sega Genesis games?
Genesis games?
Yeah.
Sonic 3, Knuckles. I like the music, but that might not happen. I played Streets of Rage. Finally, Streets of Rage 2. That is a good beat 'em up. I really like that game.
Yeah. That was the result of the ongoing rivalry with Capcom and Sega. Final Fight versus Streets of Rage, and they were great times until Streets of Rage 3 came out. Not one of my favorites. I know some people love that.
Beat 'em up games when I was growing up. Obviously, Double Dragon was a staple. River City Ransom was really good too.
Yeah, it was. Did anybody ever play POW from SNK, Prisoners of War? That was good. And of course, Bad Dudes.
Yep. Bad Dudes was awesome.
Data East. Oh, rest in peace, Data East. Love that game. And a really, really obscure game, Combator Tribes. I think Technosoft also did that after Double Dragon. I may be confusing that. Yeah, but anyway, Sega Genesis Mini coming out September. Really good console, retro console. Definitely pick it up.
I think most of us will be getting it.
I think if you really are on board with this, you might want to probably put a pre-order in just because of the popularity of the Super Nintendo Classic, and that thing sold out, and you know how long it took for it to get back in stores. This,
that's because Nintendo's stupid, and they put in, that false sense of, what the hell is it? False sense of rarity, and they could crank out more consoles. It just held off. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's just throw it out there. They did that deliberately.
It prints its own money. We've got to do this for the people.
And even though it is taking forever and a day to come out, so it's like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, if Square Enix ever wanted to make a decision where they needed more money, they just announced that game, which they did, and it just prints money. And I'm pretty sure no matter how long it takes to make that game, as soon as it comes out, people are going to buy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So just before we move on from this topic, one last question for everybody on the panel here. taking into consideration what's come out already and how sort of free they're being with licensing, if you had one game that you want to add to this collection, what is it?
Phantasy Star 2.
Honestly, like I said, being a Nintendo fanboy growing up, I wasn't fully aware of the Sega Genesis library. So, honestly, I would say Sonic, but it's already on there. So, I mean, if I'm going to experience Sega, I might as well experience it through their biggest mascot. And they've already got it on there. So, what I want is already there.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles isn't confirmed yet, right? Or are they working through us?
Yeah,
then
not
that.
confirmed. I
Just
suppose
because of the licensing.
for myself, even though it would be a pain in the ass to play on the 3-button controller, the original Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Genesis was the only console that had it done properly with the blood and everything else. Didn't need a code to put it in or any of that bullshit.
Wait, you didn't like the green blood?
I didn't like the green blood or the blue sweat or whatever the fuck they decided to put on the Super Nintendo.
That was so stupid.
But mind you, I'm still holding a little bit of hope that we get some, like, just as like a special bonus or something. The last 5 are a mixture of 32X and Sega CD games.
I don't know if we're going to see any Sega CD games. Well, I guess the big part is how powerful is this retro console going to be? They haven't said anything about that, which is part of the issue.
Dude, it's 2019. If this shit can't emulate 32X and Sega CD, it has no business being on the current market.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, I'm just calling it how I see it. They haven't said anything.
Yeah, but never mind. Capcom's Home Arcade is pretty much one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen. I don't understand how they can announce a joystick in the shape of their logo, but that's neither here or there. But apparently it's violating the Final Burn Alpha's licensing agreement. I'm completely honest. I have no idea what that means. Keith, you apparently do, so kick us off on this one.
So Final Burn and Final Burn Alpha are emulators. And before we start, I know a lot of people are saying emulators are illegal. Emulators are not illegal. The ROMs, or how you acquire the ROMs, may or may not be legal. If you have your own game, you can dump it and it's legal. If you give that game to your bestest friend, well, now it's illegal. So what's happening here is, as I said, Final Burn has a license agreement saying that you cannot distribute that software. And if you make any modifications to that software, you must show the work that you did. Well, apparently, Final Burn Alpha has been stated to be the emulator that's running on this Capcom Home Arcade. And it got sold? Somehow it's being, because you can't sell it. So it's being sold with this arcade stick, which the agreement says you can't sell this software. So there's been a lot of back and forth between some people. Barry Harris, one of the main developers of Final Burn Alpha, stated that the Final Burn Alpha has been licensed to Capcom for the Home Arcade. Speaking of which, Capcom is not the one who's making this stick, by the way. It's from, I'm going to say his name wrong, Koch Media GmbH. You know, the people that own Deep Silver. So they're the ones who are actually manufacturing and selling this. Capcom's name is on it because they're Capcom games. So there's a lot of back and forth between the Fireburn Alpha development team saying, hey, this is bull. We didn't approve this. This is something that we don't think it's fair. None of us ever accepted any money because we never get paid for this. It's a passion project. And if you're selling this, why aren't we getting money from it? And apparently Barry Harris hasn't stated anything so far. So the problem is this legal? Because if a licensing agreement states you can't sell this software and it's being sold with this fight stick, there's a problem. So right now, the stick, as far as I know, this retro console is still being planned to be sold, and this issue has not been cleared up. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but if the agreement states that you cannot sell this particular piece of software, and somebody's selling that particular piece of software, somebody's about to get sued. But the question is there some kind of loophole that's allowing this to happen? Or is Barry Harris being really sneaky and basically selling out his team to make some money on the side?
Well, it's sort of a yes and no situation. Because, yes, licensing agreements are in place that would do say at this point in time that Final Burn Alpha cannot be used for commercial use. However, but that's the funny thing about licensing agreements. They can always be rewritten, especially, if one of the cheap developers gets enough support and says, hey, I'm planning to try and, license this out to Capcom. Are we okay with this? If he gets enough people turning around backing him saying yes, okay, cool, let's change the licensing agreement so that we can do this with Capcom.
Well, that's the problem. One, the people aren't saying it. And two, the guy who is one of the chief developers on it now is not the original creator of it. The original creator wrote the software and then quit, said, I'm not doing this anymore. So if the only way this actually can get sold is if he comes back and changes the agreement, who is no longer in the scene.
But he's walked away, so he's given up his rights.
No, he's the one who put the license in place. You can leave, you can write software and walk away. Your licensing stays in effect until you die.
But then again, that's also the other thing. How do we know he hasn't gone to the creator? As you said, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying anything.
Yeah, nobody's saying anything. It's just a really bad situation that nobody knows what's going on. And if I would feel really bad if I was working on this piece of software and the head honcho says, I'm going to sell this. And the biggest kick in the nuts is he didn't tell anybody in the team that he was doing this. So that's bad.
But also think about it this way. We have stand-up arcade units that run all sorts of emulation software.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the multi ones that run probably about 3 or 4 different builds of Final Burn Alpha. There's basically like Raspberry Pis in a smaller case. How is this different to what's like the non-legal ones that are out there?
Because it's a bigger company doing it. It's not like
so in other words, because there's bigger money involved and there's a good chance that these motherfuckers can get paid. Now they're getting salty.
Well, it's not just that.
Shut your fuck up with your morals.
It's not even that. I mean, if it's a mom and pop store selling your stuff and you can go after, the most you can do is tell them to stop, and they'll stop.
I'm talking about like jumping on eBay and you search up arcade emulator or something like that, and you pull up these the Pandora sticks, the Pandora boxes and stuff.
Those things are illegal to like a mofo. Those things are completely.
Those things run Final Burn Alpha. They probably run about 2 or 3 copies of it.
There's a couple of things that are sold in stores that are using Final Burn.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Why is it that it's now the time to kick up the stink, as opposed to all these other places that they could have tried trying to get these guys shut down or something? No, they don't want to because there's really no money involved that they can get a hold of. Now,
and it could be that
these salty motherfuckers are looking at a payday. So now they're getting their hackles up. They need to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. This is one of those situations of where you can't pick and choose your battles. Either you fucking fight it from day one, or you don't wait until something comes along where you can always be guaranteed to get paid off.
And like I said, I agree with you on that one, but at the same time, it also was a really shitty move on the boss man to turn around and sell his entire team. It's not cool if he's making all the bucks and the rest of the guys who also work on the project aren't getting anything. It could be that as well. Well, hey, you're not putting us in, you're not giving us a piece of the pie. How's that cool? We're doing the work just as much as you are. Where's our cash? Again, it's an ugly situation.
Where does it say show me a contract that says that those motherfuckers have to get paid?
Well, where does it show that he should get paid?
You find there'd probably be an agreement in place.
Probably. We'll never know until they start talking.
But the smart people in this situation are the ones who have contracts. If the other people who are working on the development of Final Burn Alpha don't have a contract in place, then they're not getting paid. Their options are shut the fuck up or leave.
Well, like I said, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think the biggest issue, though, is the fact that you're advertising that you're using a piece of software that has been stated, no, this cannot be sold.
Very,
it's messy.
Very, very true. At least they're like straight up honest about it. Unlike PlayStation, who yeah, we don't know anything about the emulator that we're working about. It might be this PSXE thing that's over here, but they're not telling you about it.
Yes, PlayStation Classic was a mess too with that one, and well, the entire console was a mess. So I'll leave it at that. That thing flopped so bad. It was glad I didn't drop the $100 or the $80 or the $50 or the $40. I'm glad I didn't buy it. Yeah, because I'd be kind of upset.
Yeah. And the entire gaming community was also incredibly upset as well because the console was crap. But speaking of PlayStation consoles, hopefully this next one isn't, because they confirmed, I don't think they really announced it because we already knew it was coming, but they basically confirmed the PlayStation 5's existence. And Mark Cerny, who basically is their lead systems architecture designer, basically ran down some pretty impressive specs. So we don't know what it looks like. We don't know what software is going to be on it, what games are coming for it. We just know hardware. And right now, it's basically going to be running a customized AMD Ryzen processor, or at least a processor based off of that technology.
Yep, Zen.
It's going to be doing an AMD Radeon Navi card, which is their upcoming graphics card. It's going to be the first console in history to support ray tracing, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a rendering process which produces realistic lighting, shadows, and like water reflections and things of that nature.
And halves your frame rate.
Yep. It also is going to be coming with a solid-state hard drive, which I don't think they said how big it's going to be, but the fact that, a 15-second load screen will take 0.8 seconds now is absolutely astounding. And that's something that's been a crux in gamers' lives ever since the original PlayStation, when we switched from instant access cart-based technology to CD load times, is that it's taking forever for my game to load every single time I go on a new mission. Well, solid-state hard drives will remedy that pretty quickly.
Why not just give a console a crap total of memory and load the game to memory and have even more faster access time?
Because that would be logical. And this is the gaming industry.
Have you seen RAM prices lately?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap actually. Now, I mean, look at the Xbox One X. Look how much memory it has. It's got 12 gigs of memory. That's actually pretty good.
There you go. Stuff it full of RAM then. It's also going to be supporting 3D audio. So obviously this is designed to work with surround sound systems. So if you have like a Dolby 7.1 or at least a headset, which is preferred, that will emulate 7.1, then you're pretty much good to go to get the full 3D audio experience. If you don't, then obviously it's going to sound just like your games do today. So don't worry about it. PlayStation VR compatible. So if you have the headset, you can use it with the PlayStation 5. Resolutions will be natively 4K with 8K support. And as you know, there's no television out there unless you're like super rich and have one custom made or something along the lines of a business standard. There's no 8K out there. So it's future-proofed, guys. It's going to have 8K resolution for when it does happen, which I don't think is going to happen for a while, but hey, it's there. It's nice to have. And one other thing, PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility.
Man.
Now, we were a little disappointed, at least I was disappointed when I heard that, because there were rumors out there it would be backwards compatible all the way down to PS1. And we called into question whether or not that would be the killer for PlayStation Now, since that service was kind of garbage, and it kind of still is. But apparently they're still on the whole argument that the PS1, 2, and 3 had custom architecture for the consoles, so it's not as easy to make that backwards compatible without going through software emulation. But since the PS4 and PS5, from a hardware standpoint, would be very fundamentally the same, just upgraded stuff, it's a lot easier to emulate, or at least just have the games run natively from a PlayStation 4. So at least you're getting last gen backwards compatibility. So I guess that's a half a win. I'll take it. But yeah, impressive console from a hardware standpoint. Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, so I'm sorry. The PC Master Race would like to speak.
No.
Keith, go ahead and tell us why a console which is going to be, the same for everybody at an affordable price fucking sucks. Go ahead and tell us.
No, I don't think it sucks, and I don't want to go first, but I did want to put in there. I don't agree with the whole backwards compatibility part because the Xbox 360 is a completely different architect from the Xbox One, and Microsoft was able to get that working. They're also emulating the original Xbox One games. I don't think it's so much of a hard to, or impossible to get done or very hard to get done. Is more so as, do we really want to?
Yeah, it can be done, especially PlayStation 1 and 2 games, but the PlayStation 3 cell processor is so just weird.
It's the bastard brother stepchild of the Sega Saturn, which is finally emulated. So it can be done.
And the PlayStation 5 sounds powerful enough to brute force that PS4 emulation. It's just, I don't know if Sony's going to devote all their time and effort into that at the start of the generation, maybe midway through, kind of like how Xbox adopted backwards compatibility about halfway through this gen.
Yep. They also are going to have PlayStation VR support, which is something I know a lot of people are very happy about.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Was that?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
No, but I'm saying that's a great thing. That is going to be good because the biggest issue with the PlayStation VR right now is the PlayStation 4 isn't exactly a powerhouse.
Yeah, so you kind of need a Pro for it to be usable.
And even then, it's PlayStation 5.
Then it's nothing compared to PC VR.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to sound like it's PC, and I hate using this master race because it's not that. I really want to have both the upcoming PlayStation and the upcoming Xbox to be worthwhile consoles. And I wrote an article today. I really think that the focus of these consoles, or one of the main focuses of these consoles, should be frame rate. I don't like how they came out the gate and said, hey, we're working on, it's going to be 4K and we'll support 8K down the line, because Xbox One actually supports 8K down the line. But as we've seen right now, there are a lot of developers focusing on 4K, native 4K, or checkerboarding, and they forget the most important thing: a stable frame rate, anti-aliasing, some actual details, a game looking like a game that you want to play. 4K is great. Great. It's amazing. It looks good. I like having my eyes having the orgasm as I watch the game. It's fantastic. Great. But when my game is running at 30 frames per second or sub 30 frames per second, there's a problem. And I'm fearful that we hear these buzzwords being tossed around that they're going to forget about one of the most important aspects of gaming is the frame rate. We don't want a cinematic 23 frames per second at 4K, because that's garbage. Nobody's going to want that. 30 frames per second capped would be nice, but as we know, there are a handful of games on both the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro that can accomplish that. Then you have other games that are uncapped that run anywhere from 30 to 60 frames per second, and it fluctuates. Even with dynamic resolution, it fluctuates. I want them to focus on frame rate. Focus on that first, then give us a higher resolution. And I'm all for I'm all for you giving us a console that can play a 1080p game at a locked 60 frames per second with enough power to give us what we want. Give us that, I have no problem.
I think options are a good thing, because a lot of late generation PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games, like God of War and even Dreams, they let you choose between a resolution mode, which will give you 4K, usually around 30 frames per second, or performance mode, which will dock to 1080p, but give you hopefully 60 frames per second. I know God of War struggles in some areas, but I think that should be the standard for next generation. I don't think they should commit to 4K or even 8K, which I don't think is going to happen, at 30 or 1080p at 60. I think the ability to choose between both is where we should go.
One of the biggest things about this as well is they said that the PlayStation 5 will not be a digital-only console. I'm beginning to wonder if there were some jabs thrown in there against Microsoft. But that's good. I know a lot of people aren't ready for an all-digital future. And to be honest, that is something that should not be pulled away from us. We should always have the ability to choose. If I want to buy a game online, let me buy a game online. If I want to buy a physical media, if I want to buy a disc, give us the ability to buy the disc. So I'm glad that Sony realizes that we do want a choice. And I hope Microsoft does the same thing, because if they don't, that's going to be really stupid.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have an all digital only thing. for next gen. I think there will be a choice.
It has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with game sales, physical media always gets discounts. And again, we still have the issue with the broadband caps, and PlayStation Network is not the best for downloading games. It
Nope.
never has been. It's just like, oh, got this game. Oh, 10 hours later, and it's not done yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
no
you
thanks.
can't just jump into an all digital future in one generation. It's going to be a slow thing that happens.
One of my biggest issues, though, with the PlayStation 5, not the architecture, but so we saw this happen. We sort of saw this happen with the Xbox One X, and with the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro. It went away, but what I'm talking about is they said when the PlayStation 5 launches that they'll still release games for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 at the same time. But reading into that, it kind of feels like it means, hey, the 5 is coming out. We're eventually going to wean you off the 4 onto the 5, so you better be ready to buy the 5 or you're going to get left behind. Now, that could be just me reading into it, but if that's something they're going to do, I don't like that idea.
You mean
Because-
every generation of
Yeah,
console
it's every console
ever?
generation.
Every generation it has been, but it wasn't like, give me that, you're screwed. They still kept releasing games to the very end. Look at the Xbox 360. Look at that. Look at the PlayStation 3. It was up to the very freaking end of their console life where it was like, okay, you now have to get the Xbox One. You now have to get the PlayStation 4.
It
It wasn't
was pretty standard though. Like it was 3-ish years where there was still cross-gen titles, and then after that, like the
Right.
last significant title for the Xbox 360 that was like a big tentpole thing was Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think, 2015.
No, there was some more games that came out after that. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was like you got the very last of the toothpaste in the toothpaste box, on the toothpaste container. You got the very last of it. You were able to use more of it. But this is it just feels like that time period between the release of the PlayStation 5 and how much life the PlayStation 4 has is going to be shorter than what we've seen before. Now again, like I said, it could be me reading into this, but if I was Sony and I'm seeing the issues people are having with PlayStation 4 right now, I would want to get the 5 into more people's hands so I can take advantage of the power and give the gamers what they want. But at the same time, look at the people that brought PlayStation 4 Pros. Look at the people that bought Xbox One X's. I mean, yeah, you knew that you were getting a console in the middle of that console lifespan, and it was a mild upgrade at the very least, well, at least for the PlayStation 4 Pro was. But if I just brought a 4 Pro and now you're like, oh, hey, 5's here. Hey, yeah, that Pro is useless now, or it will be very soon. I'd feel some kind of way if
I
I
think
didn't understand the
the 4
situation.
The 4 and the 4 Pro will be supported for a while after the 5 launches. It's just I feel like they addressed that concern where it's going to be a slow transition, and then they're eventually going to phase the 4 and 4 Pro out because of the fact that a PS4 Pro even exists and that Microsoft is doing a bunch of stuff with Xbox One family of devices. We've never really seen a mid-generation jump like the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X before.
Nope.
So I feel like a lot of people are on edge worrying if there's going to be a better PS5 that comes out a year or two after release, or if the PS5 is just going to be the PS4 Pro 2. I feel like Mark Cerny in that presentation really wanted to hammer home the fact that this is a new generation and that the older consoles will be phased out. But not immediately, though. Like, of course, that's every generation. There will be some cross-gen titles for the next 2 or 3 years.
But that was something that we were supposed to see with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. It wasn't going to be like all these games were only going to be available on the 4 Pro, but you were supposed to see an added benefit of having a Pro, which made you jump towards the Pro. But we really haven't. I mean, obviously, this is a new generation. I don't think that's going to be the same. I definitely think that we're going to see, hopefully, better games, better looking games, better performing games on the 5 that's going to make us want to jump to the 5 maybe sooner than we normally would, at least from the PlayStation to the PlayStation 5. I don't know about the people on the Pro side of things, because like you said, it was a mid gap, and we've never seen this happen before. This is the first time this has ever happened, and I am also a little suspect about this possibly happening again in the future. So we get the PlayStation 5, then we get the PlayStation 5 Pro, we get the Xbox whatever, then we get the Xbox something X or the next Xbox. And I'm just hoping that doesn't become the norm. It's not a PC. You know, PC, you always, I'm going to upgrade this processor, I'm going to upgrade this video card. And that's the nature of the PC. We see that happen all the time. But for this to happen in the console space, I don't want to say it was weird. It was just unexpected. And I really hope it was just a one-time thing, to be honest with you.
I think there's going to be a PS5 Pro. I think this will be a thing from now on. Every generation we'll get the new generation and then the mid-generation bump and then another generation and then another mid-gen thing.
Which just means more money coming out of our purses and wallets and bank accounts and whatever else we put our money at. Not looking forward to that kind of future. But Josh, Carl, you guys have been quiet about this one.
Well, how can we, talk with you just blabbering on about it? So
jump in. I'll shut up.
Go ahead, Carl.
Look, to be honest, I'm quite happy with the PlayStation 5 and what they've announced so far. If there's anything I sort of have a bit of a not too sure about, it's the hard drive. Because solid state drives, they're barely now just touching the 1 terabyte range, and then even then they're expensive as hell. And from what I've heard, they're running like a specialty made SSD drive for it, which all I hear is more money, more money, more money, more money. But other than that, yeah, I'm quite happy with what they're doing so far. The PS4 backwards compatibility, a lot of people have been wanting backwards compatibility, so they're starting to listen. Will we get PS3 and stuff like that down the track? Hopefully. Yeah, you should be able to at least emulate PS1 and PS2 games on a PS5, for God's sake. PS3, well, we already know how much of a bastard stepchild that thing is. But yeah, the backwards compatibility with the VR, I'm enjoying. I'm actually very much on the edge of pulling the trigger on a PSVR finally, just because there are some halfway decent things worth getting for it. I've got enough lounge room space to support it now. But yeah, as for the half year upgrade or the half cycle upgrade, you don't need it. Unless you're someone like Keith who has to have everything shiny and brand new every...
No, stop that.
Yes.
I got that stuff to review the stuff.
Excuse me, to review. How many graphics cards do you go through a year?
1.
4, 5, 18?
1 a year. One a year. I still have my 1080 Ti and my 1080 because I sold stuff. And no different than my PlayStation 4. I have 2 PlayStation 4 Pros. And yes, I have 2 Xbox One X's. But how did I get them? I sold stuff to get them. I played the game very well. Stop jumping on me.
Never.
God damn it.
Yeah, sorry. Not gonna happen.
Anyway, continue your speech.
To be honest, I'm pretty much done. Like, the whole 8K thing does nothing for me, same like 4K. I'm someone who wears glasses, so the highest I'll ever see is 720. Or even 1080 if I'm lucky, depending on the strength of my glasses. So the higher resolution thing doesn't sort of really faze me at all. And, I'm not a guy with the name Miss Frame Rates Matter, so I never really pay attention to those either. And yeah, as long as the games are good and they remember that it's all about the games, it's about building an enjoyable experience that people are going to come back to time and time again and want to play, instead of microtransaction-laden bullshit, I'm happy. Bring on the PS5. I will buy it day one just like I did the PS4.
Yep. And pretty much my entire argument is the same as Carl's. Show me the games. Because honestly, I don't give a shit about hardware. I know it's going to look good. I just want to see what games it has. And the whole reason why I didn't buy an Xbox One X or any of the Xbox Ones is because they did not have enough exclusives to basically warrant me buying the console. And when most of those exclusives are now on PC, I don't have a reason to buy it. So I went with the PlayStation 4. It's going to be the same thing next generation for me. Who's going to have the better exclusives? Who's going to be essentially the console that's going to be the go-to for me? And if that's Sony, it's Sony. If it's Xbox, it's Xbox. I mean, I don't care. Just show me the games. That's all I care about.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how it should be. It should not be brand loyalty. It should be, if this console has the games that I want, this is the console that I want. You know, and I'm not trying to bring in that argument because that's not about that. It's just a lot of people have that mindset where I'm pro Sony or I'm pro Xbox or pro PlayStation and pro Xbox. We shouldn't be at that point. We should be like you guys are saying.
We definitely shouldn't be at that point because you take a look at what's going on with both consoles. Outside of timed exclusives, there's really nothing that's holding each console to being special.
Nope, not anymore.
The games are the same across the board. You know, there might be slight differences when it comes to frame rates, resolutions, and stuff like that between two consoles. But games-wise, like release-wise, outside of a couple of changes where it comes to, you know, hey, we're going to pay a couple of $1 million to keep this for 12 months, there's no reason anymore.
Is that a stab at Destiny?
No, that's a stab at myself for going out and dropping $300 on a PlayStation 1S, only to trade it in 3 months later.
You mean Xbox One S?
Because I didn't bother playing with the fucking thing.
Yeah, we talked about that. And again, it's where the games are. You know, my stances are a little different than you guys because one of the bigger exclusives on the Xbox is Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport. And I'm a big car fan, big car nut. So I like the racing games. You guys aren't fans of that. So it was either that, Gears of War, and Halo. And
well, that was the thing. It's I had the exclusive stuff. I had the Gears of War. I had Halo. I had Forza. I had Battlefield 5. I had even going back to like older things like Killer Instinct. I bought the complete collection one. Sunset Overdrive, something else I heard really good things about. I played them and went, okay, now I've played them. I really don't want to do it again.
But that's the other thing. Those games that you mentioned, outside of one game, all those games are on PC right now. Sunset Overdrive is on PC. Forza Horizon is on Windows. Tomb Raider is on Windows and Steam. Quantum Break is on Steam and Windows. They're all on Windows. And the next upcoming Halo is going to be on Windows. The Xbox does have an issue with enticing people to use the console, but we're not talking about that one. But yeah, that's part of give me the games. That's a unique situation where Sony has Xbox and has had Xbox beat for quite some time. If you look at buying one of the two consoles, and if you ask me if I were to buy a console right now, it would be the PlayStation. Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn. I can't get them on PC. I can only get them on PlayStation. Outside of the third-party games, Sony has the better collection, has the better catalog. Hands down. It'll be interesting to see how the PlayStation 5 shapes out. I'm not dying the hardware. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Mark Cerny has done an amazing job with PlayStation 4. I think he's going to do yet another amazing job with the PlayStation 5. I have zero issues with that. But that all said, and knowing the specs and what we're getting, what do you guys think we're going to see as far as a price point?
Honestly,
$500.
Really? I was going to say $399.
I would say $399, but just the hardware and the power that they're talking, if it's accurate, I think it has to be $499.
Okay.
See, that's where it becomes a little bit different for me because like you guys can go like $399, $499. It came out in Australia at $699. So I don't know what that translates to American dollars. I still reckon it's probably going to sit at around probably the $600-$700 mark here in Australia.
Jesus, that's still ridiculous. Every time you talk about difference in price, I go, damn, they really rake you guys over the coals.
Oh yeah.
As far as me, I think I'm going to go Diego. When Mark Cerny talked about that, and he hinted towards the price, saying it was going to be around something you guys are familiar with or are comfortable paying. And the most expensive console has been the Xbox One X, which was $499 when it came out.
Is he gonna do a what was his name when they announced PS4? Just walked up and go $399.
Everybody is thinking that'll happen, but no, I think the hardware this time around is just they're going to have to either eat it big time, and from what they're talking about with the Zen and the Navi, the solid state hard drive, possibly more memory, and a crap ton of work they have to do on the software end of things, No, it's got to come in $499, which is not a bad price, all things considered. PlayStation 4 Pro was $399. It was a marginal leap. Xbox One X was $499. It was a big leap from the Xbox One S. I think if Sony wants to come in running, it's going to be $499. If it's $399, even better. But I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's definitely going to be $499 when it comes out.
$499 is like the cap for console prices. If it's higher than that, it's kind of ridiculous.
We don't want to see the Neo Geo all over again.
Because the Xbox One, whenever that launched, the original, it caught a lot of flack for being $499.
Yep. And it was not worth it.
Mm-mm. But at least we know we can play, like, at least for a while, the same big games on PlayStation 4 while they're coming out on PlayStation 5.
The thing I want to see if they're going to do some kind of parody, like, like they were talking about on the PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 4. You're not going to see a difference. And then, oh, hey, now there's a graphics mode and a frame rate mode. And now you have modes to choose from. That, obviously, I think it's going to be a given. We're definitely going to see that. But the thing is, how much of it is going to entice you? Especially if 4K is their focus and 4K TV is getting cheaper, how much harder do you think it's going to be for them to go, hey, look, this is this game running at 4K, hopefully at 60 frames per second, versus running on the PlayStation 4 at 1080p at 30 frames per second. I mean, that is a huge leap. And the buzzword alone, it's going to make people go, holy crap, I want this now. I could imagine seeing a Red Dead Redemption 2 or even a Death Stranding at 4K, 60 frames per second. That would look amazing. Or have Naughty Dog go back and redo their games, like we saw the Xbox One X games, where they gave them a resolution and a frame rate bump. Or all their big AAA supporting games, all their first-party games go back. I think that would be amazing, and I think that would be enough to entice people to go back and do it.
Hell, I just want to see what Mortal Kombat 12 would look like on a PlayStation 5.
You said Mortal Kombat 12.
Yeah, I mean, as good as MK11 looks on current gen with the level of detail and brutality, I want to see what PlayStation 5 could do for that series.
Well, what if there is no Mortal Kombat 12? What if they go back in time and they retcon everything and they start over again?
They will never do that. They've never done that, and they never will.
Do you guys think that PlayStation 4 games running on PlayStation 5 because they're backwards compatible will be enhanced at all? Not just by loading times with the SSD, but like kind of like how original Xbox and 360 games are Xbox One X enhanced. Do you think that'll be like a native thing?
No, it never can be native unless they brute force the hell out of it, and only if those games were created with higher assets in the game. A lot of the games on the Xbox One that are from the Xbox 360 era, they went back and worked on a lot of them. They reworked a lot of things. It wasn't one for one. So, like right now,
like with the name change functionality, how like every game after a certain date has been coded to work with it built in. Sony's been working with devs past like 2018 to where all your games will have to upscale on PlayStation 5 to some extent.
Well, yeah, if they put higher assets in them right now and they will scale, then yeah, that will be a thing. But if they don't, they'll be just like Ninja Gaiden 2, last one they got announced. They went back and they reworked that game, so it looks phenomenal. And I downloaded it, and holy crap, that game is amazing now. Not that it wasn't amazing before, but it's so much better now. Like that, they would have to go back and do that, and that's going to depend on if Sony wants to do that, which I think they should. I think Microsoft has set the bar with that now, as far as backwards compatibility. You need to go back and revisit even your best games. Your Uncharted. Go back, have them. I don't want to say remastered because it's not really a remaster. It's like more of a enhancement. Go back and enhance those games. Do that. That would be amazing. Enhance Spider-Man. Have Insomniac go back and enhance Spider-Man.
How could you enhance that thing anymore?
Well, you can make it run at 60 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second.
That would just make it look too pretty. The human eyes are not meant to see such prettiness.
I demand nothing but perfection.
Yeah, I think next gen's going to be interesting in terms of graphics because it's not going to be a giant leap like PS3 to PS4 was. I think we've kind of hit a plateau. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they do to try to impress us with the whole next generation jump thing.
Well, that's my thing, and that's why I wrote the article today. I want to see. 4K is great, like I said, but now we're at the point where we need to see more anti-aliasing. We need to see better detail. We need to see those finite details that we normally would not see before. We're at a resolution plateau, as you said, but now start bumping in the textures, start bumping in the reflections, make them more uncanny valley than you could before. Give us that.
But I think even with texture quality and stuff like that and graphical fidelity in general, we're hitting near to the top to where it's not going to be a giant jump anymore. I think we're going to see more CPU heavy stuff like livelier cities and better AI.
Which is great, which means it's more immersion, which is what we need, but we can't do it now because we don't have the power. Going up into the next PlayStation and Xbox, they will now have that power, which is what we want to see now. I think we're getting closer and closer to that Toy Story quality, but maybe now so consistency is part of the issue. Again, cap frame rates are great. If they can do all that stuff and cap the frame rates so it stays a consistent 60 frames or even 30 frames, fine. That's great. That's great. We don't want to have any issues with frame pacing from software games, which is big for that. We don't want to see a dynamic resolution. No, keep that native. Take advantage of that power. And I think the key developers will be the ones to hit that ground running and show us some amazing stuff. Like for PlayStation 4 Pro, when I first played Gran Turismo Sport on it, it was like, holy crap, this looks amazing. And it even looks better than Forza Sport 7. And it was just beautiful. I can imagine seeing more of that on the 5. That would just.
Josh said earlier, like I want to see the games. It's really hard to just speculate off of hardware and specs that we don't even have the full specifics of.
Yeah, it's like you said, next generation. It's going to be interesting. E3 2020. It's going to be interesting. Hell, even end of this year, I'm pretty sure Sony is going to have a Sony. What is it? The PlayStation Experience. Did they have one yet this year? No.
PSX is usually in December. I think that's when they're going to show the PS5 at PSX.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, hey, here we go, and start teasing it. I mean, I'm excited.
That Microsoft had their Inside Xbox conference, and that very same day, PlayStation or Sony was just like, "Yo, PlayStation 5 confirmed."
But then Microsoft went out and tweeted their E3 date.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Oh, Microsoft has been planning a show-off something at E3.
Yeah,
we're going to see
the next box at E3.
We're probably going to see the next Xbox, and we're going to see more about their cloud solution. I think Xbox is going to blow away some minds at E3.
Yeah, man, next gen's crazy because it's not even just the next Xbox and the PlayStation 5 we have to worry about. We also have to worry about xCloud and Stadia and seeing what they're going to do.
I want to see Stadia. I'm not too concerned about Stadia.
I wonder what the exclusive games are going to be like because they have a first-party studio.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting part.
Exciting times.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Nintendo's just sitting over there like, we got a guy named Bowser running North America. Come at us.
Which is still better than everything out there right now because it's like gaming come to real life. Like you actually have a person whose last name is freaking Bowser. Who the hell names their kid that? How did your last name become Bowser?
It was meant to be.
It's like, just
remember though, Robin Williams did actually call his kid Zelda, so we are living in that age where things like video game character names being used as actual names is a thing.
But his last name is Bowser. That means his family's name is Bowser. So it's like, is there a Wendy Bowser or like it just blows my mind. Like your name is Doug Bowser. And can you imagine that kid going to school and probably being teased? And now it's like, I am now the president of Nintendo. How do you like that shit? Exciting times.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, I think that brings us to the end of this podcast. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Go play World War Z.
Oh, have you played it, Keith?
I have not played it. I'm going to buy it this weekend. I watched a couple people on stream play, and it looks
cool, right?
It looks freaking crazy. It's like the movie. Zombies coming out of every orifice. Like, what the hell is going on? and the different locations and the different characters per location, and it doesn't look like crap. And everybody says the game plays well. So yeah, I'm sold.
I'm surprised that game actually turned out not awful.
And from the developer too, it's like who are you again? Yeah, I definitely want to pick this up.
For me, it's actually more or less a message for Carl. Try the 8.2 World of Warcraft patch on the PTR. What they have there so far, I am confident in saying that Blizzard has redeemed themselves for this expansion.
Retort. I'm clean. I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
Yes, you are.
God, no. I've got a better addiction now.
Oh, what's that?
Spending lots of money on Amazing Spider-Man comics.
But you did that as a kid, man.
I do that as an adult because I can finally afford it.
This is true.
Especially when you strike a deal where you buy like $800 worth of books for $300. I'm doing good.
Holy shit, man. I thought I had an issue.
I've got about 500 of them sitting on the shelf.
Jeebus.
Wow.
Yeah, no crap. Oh, hey, Josh. So last time we talked about that Xbox One controller, the Lunar White controller.
Yeah, so you picked it up.
So I purchased the controller, and it's in great condition. And then I went on eBay and bought a box. I literally went on eBay and bought a box. And then I put that controller in the box.
Not even going to play with it?
No, it's in the box. I showed my wife the box, and she was like, you literally brought a box off eBay. I was like, yes, I did. And she was like, to put a controller in the box. Yes. And you did this because of my collection, and I'm addicted. And she just walked away.
Yeah, boxes are really important. Some people just don't get it.
I was surprised to get a box in that good a condition. It was like $5. Like, that box is in really good condition. Yes, give it to me, please.
So your wife questions you for going to eBay and buying a box, yet thousands of fans are okay with buying Nintendo Labo. I don't get it.
It's just cardboard, man.
Yeah.
It's just cardboard.
Hey guys, I just got this pizza from Domino's. Hey, look, it came with the Nintendo Labo expansion pack.
Exactly. Oh, well, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm really happy. I have to thank you for that because I never would have went out and purchased that controller. So thank you.
Hey, I do what I do. Let's end this podcast so we can get the hell out of here.
But I like talking to you guys. This is fun.
And we can do it again next Friday, like we do, every week.
Every week. What are we doing next Friday, Pinky? Same thing we do every Friday.
Try and take over the video game world.
Yep.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and find us all over the social media stuff. It's Spectator_mode on Twitter. And of course, you can search the Outerhaven Productions on YouTube, as well as the Outerhaven.net, where you'll basically be able to find this VOD once Keith goes ahead and edits it, most likely Sunday.
No, I'm doing it tonight.
Well, there you go. Early VOD. Unless you already listened to this on VOD, then it's right on time or late or something.
Then in the past. You've already heard it, so it's in the past.
Yeah. Time travel. We've mastered it. Or have we? So, for Carl May Smart, for Diego Perez, and Keith Mitchell, I am JJ Pietro saying, once again, Godspeed to all you out there in Radio Land. Peace.